Welcome to the See What Sticks Variety Podcast featuring your hosts, Jake Andrews, Joe D'Souza, and Jackson Playfair.
Welcome to episode 9 of the See What Sticks podcast. I am host with the most, Jameson Andrews, and as always with my co-hosts, Jackson Playfair and Joe D'Souza. How you guys doing on this fine Monday evening?
Doing excellent.
Just doing wonderful, man. Enjoying life, enjoying the start of the week.
Yeah, you just moved. That's exciting stuff, eh?
Yeah, dude. Well,
Fox country.
Moving has become a week-long process now, which sucks, dude. Moving's the worst. Like, we can all agree on that, right?
Yeah, I've moved way too much.
Dude, so much. I feel like I barely get settled in a new place, and I'm like, well, time to move again. Time to pack all my shit into boxes, put it in the car, and drive a half an hour, and then unpack it all and do it all again and again and again.
Dude, you've been moving a lot, actually, now come to think about it.
Dude, my whole fucking life I've been moving, bro. I haven't stopped moving. I was born, and they're like, Jackson, grab a box, get it in the back of the truck, and go. Like, I was I was 6 minutes old, and they were like, dude, why are you not packing your closet up yet? Let's go. It's time to move.
This sounds like a winning recipe, though, because now you got the baby mama and the love of your life. You got little Callahan, and then you got a full-time babysitter.
Yes, sir. We officially called in the reinforcements. We said, boys, we've been fighting this battle by ourselves for 6 long months out here. Get out here and help us. We're so pumped and lucky, and it's awesome, man. It's so funny. Like I was having this thought the other day, when you're like, I'm 26 years old, right? Jess is 25. We're starting our life and careers and our family and everything, but like for the people around me that are that age, you're like in this weird, like getting away as far away as you can from like your past or your friends or your family or whatever. And like having a baby, you're literally begging your parents to move in with you. You're like, please, for the love of God, move in with us and help, please.
Yeah, you growing up fast, man.
Oh shit. Life comes at you fast, dude. You gotta be ready for it, and it just happens. But no, it's awesome. We're super pumped. Dope new place, which is hilarious. Like describing this place, living in Vancouver, I'm like, yeah, it's so sick. It has a backyard. And like that's it. Like that's the most exciting part. I'm like, it has a backyard. And if you're from Vancouver and you live in Vancouver, you understand why that's amazing. But if you're from anywhere else in the world, you're like, yeah, dude, so does every other house. Like having a backyard is not a selling point.
No,
Yeah.
It is. It totally is.
Yeah, it totally is. Like when I was in Toronto and I was living in a condo there for a couple of years now, and like I would love to just go to the park. There's a great park in Toronto, Trinity Bellwoods, and it's massive. Like it's like basically the Central Park or whatever that big park is in New York. It's basically that, but for Toronto, and it's it's wide open space, and having that sitting on the grass is really underrated.
Yeah, dude, it is.
That's the place where all the COVID gatherers like got in trouble for convening.
Oh yeah, there was like during the hot times of when everything was like everybody was freaking out about everything COVID and everything was just starting to reopen. Yeah, like there was a news article about how upsetting it was that as things were just starting to like reopen, and as I said, then all of a sudden you got like 10,000 people just clustered in this tiny, like, well, not tiny space, but just like within, like as if there was no COVID, without masks. And even the mayor was caught seen like just chilling without a mask, like talking to a group of kids. So there was all this like, tap on the ass, like no, that's not a good thing.
Dude, I'm sorry, but like I love the forward momentum of life that we're living in and our cultures are going through. But like, when did wearing a mask outside become the new like affair? Like if a celebrity gets caught outside without a mask on, people are like, how dare he? What was he thinking? Does he not care?
Canceled.
Dude, for not wearing a mask, bro. Like I get it. But like that's become like, you can legitimately lose your job if you're someone famous and you don't wear a mask outside. That's comedy.
It's serious.
That's our future staring us in the face, boys. Better get ready.
Dude.
You know what I found the most fascinating about that whole ordeal, Joe, is that they were saying that there was no like porta potties or anything, and like people that had to go to the bathroom were like sneaking into people's yards and like taking dumps. And
Like right in the drive.
imagine waking up to that.
Oh, dude. Could you imagine just waking up to 6? Not one. Like, it's one thing if like one person takes a poo in your backyard and you're like, oh, maybe it was a dog. But like 6 human poops in your backyard.
Not even in brown bags. Like,
No, just piles of human poo. Dude, I don't even know if I
I'd
should.
probably complain.
I don't even know if I should tell this story, but I'm going to tell it because that's what we're here for. We're here to entertain. Dude, the reason this is like a good half an hour story, but I'll make it a quick story because it's hilarious. And it was my first year in university when I went out there. And, you know, I went to school in Halifax. For those who haven't been, it's an amazing place to go have a great time. Bars everywhere. I'd say it's like one of the best places to go to school in Canada. And anyways, so the roommate I lived with, he liked to go out and have a good time. And we go out one night where we have a great time. We go home. We wake up in the morning and he like knocks on my door and he's like, hey man, let's go grab some breakfast. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. So we get up, we walk outside, dude. And I open up our front door and like, as soon as I open up the front door, just the smell of like shit hits my face, like a punch in the mouth, shit. I'm like, whoa, dude. I look down and there's just a pile of shit sitting on our front step, dude. Swear to God. And we lived on this like walk up deck. So you had to like walk up the stairs. So we're just baffled by this, right? We're like, oh my God, dude, like, did a dog do this? And I'm like, I don't know, man. That doesn't look like dog poop, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We end up shaking it off. It's all good. We deal with it. We go have breakfast. For like a month and a half, we're baffled by this, right? We're like, dude, what? Like, did someone bring their dog up onto our porch just to take a poo? Like, who's mad at us? Or like, what person did this? Dude, we fast forward a month and a half. In Halifax, there's a bar called Bitter End. And on Mondays, they have Martini Monday. And like Martini Monday is amazing. I think it's like $4 or $5 martinis. And if you haven't and you don't know what a martini is, it's essentially just like 3 different types of alcohol mixed together, or one type of alcohol with like an olive on it, and they call it a martini. It's just essentially taking shots. So we're out at Martini Monday. Night starts. It ends. We don't remember. We go home. Whatever. It is what it is. Next day, wake up again, and I go to the bathroom, and I'm going to the bathroom, and I just hear my roommate with his door open, just quietly, doesn't even yell, just quietly goes, "What the hell?" And I'm like, "What was that?" So I go, "What?" I'm like, "What's up?" And he's like, "Dude, you got to come in here." And I walk into his room, and as I'm walking into his room, he goes, "Dude, there's either a massive animal loose in our house somewhere, or I shit in my closet last night." And I swear to you guys, I walk into his room and there is a pile of human poo sitting in his closet. And I was like, bro, we got to stop drinking.
Bro, we gotta talk, man.
Yeah, we have to stop. If this is the result, we solved the porch crime and we had a new crime on our hands all in one very rough morning. So I don't even know where we got started with that story, but that story is insane.
That wow, I got something to say about that. It's okay. Here's what I'm thinking: when you're drinking, every time that you drink, the alcohol reduces the speed that your neurons are firing. So the more alcohol you drink, that includes like your brain neurons and also like your movement neurons and your motor skills and stuff. So every time you drink, like to a binge, like to you're completely hammered, essentially you're not, for one, you're not thinking about anything that strongly. Like only the strongest of strongest thoughts get through, because everything else is just like muffled essentially completely to almost like not even been able to create a full signal. So that's kind of like why you're like your arms are slow and like, you know what I mean? That's what that explains kind of the whole like bumbliness of being drunk. But also just with that preface, I think that's hilarious that your buddy was just like, I have to take a poo. What's the quickest way to take a poo? Right there where I'm looking right now, and just So he was probably like outside having a smoke, and it was just like, I'm just gonna take a shit here because it's too much energy to think about the toilet.
It's the best, dude. It's the best. It teaches you so much about the human, just like the reptilian brain of like, I gotta shit. I don't care where I shit. I'm shitting.
Yeah, it wasn't even like I've got a shit. It was probably just like shit.
Yeah,
You know?
dude. Yes, that's
You know what
so.
they say is it's easier to ask for forgiveness than for permission.
Yeah, and it was his closet, so like he had no one to. I was like, dude, I'm not even mad. I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm not touching it, but like I wasn't even mad about it, dude. I literally was just like, that's so impressive that you. And it wasn't a big dude. This wasn't a walk-in closet. Like this was a straight up. You barely fit your clothes in this closet. And yeah, I mean that. Yeah, it's nuts, man. But it is a wild thing to think about, and then just think about things in general when you get like drunk or blackout drunk, how like your body reacts to it. It's truly wild that we do that and enjoy it.
Yeah, like a lot of the time people say that, the truth comes out when you're drinking. And I think that that is true for a certain extent. Like there's a sweet spot, right? Where when you have like a couple of drinks and you're like feeling good and like you feel like almost super sober, you're a little relaxed, right? But you're on it, you're feeling good, you're confident and liquid courage and that whole thing. And I think around there and just past that point, maybe for a little bit of maybe a drink or two past the flow feeling awesome part of drinking, you might have that the truth comes out. But like when you're like hammered blackout, like you don't even know that you're awake, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like there's no way that somebody that says anything is truthful. It would be more like an impulse, like turning into words, or like, so it's not really how somebody feels as much as it is just like a reaction, because not everything. Go
I
ahead.
think it comes down to the lizard brain thing again that Jackson was talking about. Like you display emotion on like an unreasonable scale. Like I could be on point, like you say, but then 4 or 5 more drinks and it's like totally belligerent or totally aggressive, whatever the hell my brain decides that it's going to react to in that moment. Like it's not a little bit of anger and then back down. It's full on fucking incredible Hulk rage or like pure crying into my drink because of something that happened to me in second grade. But
Dude, it's like unstable, right? Like it releases you into like emotional unstableness that, yeah, man, it's crazy because it like it makes you feel like you're in this like control, confident, whatever, when in reality you're just like acting and you have no almost like conscience level of like how to decipher what you're feeling and what you're thinking.
Yeah, like I mean, you could have watched a movie and thought that John Travolta said that line really funny, and so that was a strong thing in your mind because like it was recent. So that could be something that just blurts out. You know what I mean? So that's where I mean like how the truth. It's not. I don't think it's quite accurate to say like when you're hammered, you're just nothing but truth. No, it's just whatever's fresh, whatever's that strongest signal.
yeah, for people listening out there, I would strongly advise against getting blackout drunk, but there is lessons to be learned in those moments. And I've learned some of the harshest lessons I've ever had to learn in life because of those moments. But I also had to get away from Kingston because of that sort of environment. Like Joe, you saw the house I was living in on Princess, and that was just like a vehicle to get just hammered drunk every weekend. And after a while, like it tore away at my soul. Like I couldn't do it anymore. I would wake up like every Saturday and Sunday morning hungover as shit. Don't even remember what I did the day before, but I have like little glimpses of moments that I remember, and I'm like, oh, did I do? Oh God, no.
I know, right? Well, I mean, like to be fair, you were like 20 feet from like one of the hottest bars in Kingston.
It was not an environment for
animals.
success. No, but dude, I think that's the crazy thing about alcohol or drugs in general, that alter like the state of consciousness or being, is that in your like craziest darkest or like deepest moment of them, your hindsight always shows you like there was something to learn there, you know, like there was a lesson to take out of that, if you want to look at it. And I think that that's the hard part, you know. It's like in those moments lots of times that's when like the worst shit happens. You're either acting like the biggest jackass, or you're going through something, or something like actually real life negative happens. Your girlfriend breaks up with you, or you know, like you lose your phone or your wallet. Like real bad things happen. But then I think having the ability to look back on those things, no matter what it is, you really do learn from those moments. I also think in saying that, you can learn without having those moments. Like if you're listening to
Yeah.
this, don't feel like you have to go out and get blackout drunk to then be like, wow, now I've gained wisdom. Like,
Please don't. Yeah, no.
yeah, that's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that if you're in a point in life where you're doing that thing, don't don't avoid looking at it. Like look at it and realize that like, yeah, that was shitty, or that was good, or that was bad, or whatever. Let's learn from it and understand it instead of just trying to block it out and move past it.
Yeah.
You always make mistakes in life. So like the worse the bad times get, and like those blackout drunk moments where I felt like ashamed of what I did, the further I get from that towards the path of success and like normalcy in, you know, being a productive human being, I look back at those moments as like a measuring stick for like how far am I away from that dark moment in my life. Like the turning point for me is in that environment that I spoke about earlier. I think I got in a fight with one of my roommates, like one of those drag them out, bloody friggin', you know, ass kickery nights. And the cops ended up showing up and they wanted us separated. So I knew one of the cops and he's like, dude, I'm going to throw you a bone here. Just walk away, go take a breather, come back in a bit and settle the fuck down. So I was so drunk still and revved up from the fight that I ripped my shirt off, walked down the street, which is like, you know, downtown Kingston. There's like 400 people around me, and I'm sitting on a park bench in front of Dairy Queen with like drunked out party goers, and I'm screaming covered in blood, like, who wants to fucking go me? And I'm like, yeah. Looking back on that, I'm like, that is like the worst version of me I could think of.
Yeah, there's definitely lessons to learn from that, but it's like fuel almost, right? Like in a weird sense, it's fuel for you to now push forward and get as far away from that as you can, right?
Well, and it's proven to myself, like that's not who I am. That was me under the influence of many, many drinks and just raging emotion. And I prove it to myself by just like staying out of shit for like the last 5-6 years. Like I was looking for like a sense of normalcy that just was never provided to me, and let the environment kind of dictate the way I was acting, and never was too proud of it.
Yeah, I mean that like that whole situation though, like that place, like as much as the transition was so tough, I can recall, it did lead you to where you are now, in a sense, right? Like you had that
Oh,
thing
sure.
to be afraid of. Like, I don't ever want to be that again. I need to change dramatically because I don't want to ever have to do that again. And that like takes a certain degree of self awareness that I think is crucial in building character. Like if you can do that and be like, this never again, that's powerful.
Well, and it's like, okay, if I met the version of myself now as somebody else, or if I met that version of me back then in my worst moments, like I don't want to have anything to do with the other guy, but I would be proud to be a friend with who I am now. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a cool way of putting it, man. It's so true. Like, um, you know, I think that like looking back on your previous self, it's not about looking back and like necessarily resenting those things, but being able to look at yourself today and as you move forward and know that like, yeah, in my next 5 years, I want to look back on these past 5 years and be more proud of who I was and what I did and the way I impacted people than I was for the past 5 years. Not necessarily mean that they were like I was this bad, brutal guy all the time, but having the awareness of that and being aware that like what you do today is how you will then view yourself down the road. I think that there's like that's part of growing up, right? Like I think that's part of what maturing and developing is. And being 20 and having emotion or rage or however that formulated and came out for you, that in itself, not that it came out in specific ways, but that feeling is universal. But when you're 20, you don't know that, right? Like you don't know that everyone, like it's different. Everyone has different situations, but like everyone's growing through things, everyone's learning, everyone's developing, everyone's like has different views and aspects and the way they're going after life. But like everyone's kind of also going through this like developmental huge leap that no one really like tells you, or maybe they do tell you, you just don't listen, that like other people are going through it and you kind of feel like you're alone in whatever it is, right?
Yeah. And I think that like brings it back to, larger kind of concepts. And I think about the whole nature versus nurture thing. And it's like, okay, you could be nurtured at home and insulated within your friend group with like support and positivity. But if your environment is that of like toxic wasteland, which at that point in my life it was like, I liken it to like being in the jungle and everyone's like a bunch of gorillas and we're just like going to battle and like everyone's out to just like clobber the other person for the upper hand. Um, it's a dire environment to be a part of, and it like drains you emotionally, spiritually, physically, and a lot of people just accept that and kind of let it weigh them down and start to think that that's just who they are, when it's a lot more than just the surface kind of assessment of who you are as a person. You have to look at what kind of environment you put yourself in and understand that while it may not be an easy choice to make, you do have a choice to make, in that I can start over. I can get myself out of that. A lot of it comes down to the economics of it and can I afford to make this move? But you're never going to be in a position where you're beyond comfortable to make a big change in your life, and you kind of just got to grab the bull by the horns and say, I'm going to make it work with what I have, and I'm confident enough in myself that wherever I end up, I'm going to feel that sense of pressure to go get a job or find an apartment. And that's like, I moved to Calgary with like nothing but a backpack and like $100 after the plane ticket, and I made it work with the job and the apartment and stuff. It didn't end up being exactly what I wanted, but you have to take those chances and kind of do that, what Joe was saying, like a self-assessment of who you are, and be honest in your self-awareness of, your limitations and where you need help, and get the help when you need it, but also, push your boundaries and get out
Take
of your
a
comfort zone.
take a leap of faith. That's what it
Yeah.
was like. That's what it was like for me when I moved out to Vancouver. It was very tough because like it was so far away from everything that I've known my entire life, essentially, right? Like I haven't visited out here before since like Victoria, I guess, when with like when I was a baby. But other than that, like taking that leap of faith is extremely scary.
Well, look at
Um,
you now, and I'm so proud of you for doing it. And you're like,
Thanks.
you're not afraid to do it anymore. Like you made the move from Kingston to Toronto, and now you're from Toronto to Vancouver, and you're then even further away from everything that used to be comfortable for you. And it's like making you grow in spades. And like Jackson said, he's moved like all his life, and he's got a lot of perspective from the places that he's been in and the experiences that he's had in each place. And like I think that's probably why we all get along so well, because we do have a lot of perspective and a lot of like insight that maybe a lot of people wouldn't have from putting themselves in the situations that we found ourselves in.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny because like when you're growing up on the move, not necessarily by like your own decision, like when I was a kid, we moved pretty much every 3 to 5 years. 5 was like a stretch. Like if we made it 5 years, that was a long, long, long time to be in the same place. But we always had our hometown up in northern BC where my dad's family is from, and it's a really small town, like 2,500 people. And we bought a house on the lake. when we were young. You know, we were like, I was, I think maybe 3 when we bought this. At the time, it was just a cabin in the woods kind of thing. And over the years, my dad and mom have developed it into a house on the lake with a nice view and a big piece of property. And we host a lot of gatherings and parties and birthdays and barbecues and all that kind of stuff in the summer. Um, and it was funny because growing up, it always felt like home, but then I also knew that, um, you know, come August 25th, August 30th, we were moving, you know, we were packing back up and leaving. And then when school was over, we'd come back to the cabin. But it was this constant kind of state of like transition, right? Like you just get settled in somewhere and then it's time to go, which looking back as a kid, I think kids for the most part, up until you're like 10, 11, 12, it's pretty easy to move, you know, like you meet friends, you go to school, you have coaches or teachers or whatever. And you get absorbed into communities. I think it's once you become aware of the fact that like you're the odd man out. Everyone else knows each other. Everyone else has done this for years. Everyone else has lived in the same house for 8, 9, 10 years. I think that for me was when I was like, oh wait, like I'm the weird one coming in out of nowhere. I'm the weird one who leaves all the time. And in the reality, people don't look at it that way per se, and it's more or less what you make it into your own mind, because everyone goes through whatever feeling that is. But
Yeah, I think like what you were saying is like definitely true as far as like the new kid effect. And you know, once you get to a certain age, you're more aware of that you're the odd man out. But what it can definitely do for you is if you're not, like, say you're 14 and you're kind of aware of the situation a little more, and you got bullied and you were the loser in school, all of a sudden you're 16 and your family's moving. Well, once you get to a new place, you can like reinvent yourself and like try and be something different and give yourself a fresh start.
for me, being that new one coming in all the time, I seen that ability that like you can be whoever you want to be, because everyone else will accept you initially at face value. Like no one's gonna see you come in the door and be like, oh, that guy sucks because look at him. Like there will be some level of that, but ultimately the people who have that, there's more going on with them individually than with the whole situation that involves you. So it's like that's where for me the big like overall thing that I was getting to with it is that when I had this realization when I went back to my hometown in Fort St. James, and I was talking with some of my buddies, and they were like, dude, they were like, think about how it looked to us. Like we live in Fort St. James all year round. We go to school here. We have all the same buddies. It's a very small town. He's like, and then you guys show up out of nowhere every summer, go to your cabin. You guys are out on your boat on the lake. Like your dad is this like coaches hockey, blah, blah, blah. He goes, and then all of a sudden you guys are just gone and you leave for like the winter and then you just show back up again. He's like, we all didn't know like what the deal was, like whatever, blah, 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 growing up, where like I had never looked at it from that perspective, right? So once I understood that, I was like, oh, it's all about how I want to perceive it and how I want to deal with it, because they are looking at it as, yeah, it's weird, but like whatever. I'm the only one who's making it weird by being like, oh, this is weird. I don't have friends, blah, blah, blah. But the more that you talk to people and hear different perspectives and understand different sides of things, whether you live in one town your whole life or you move to a different city every year, like it's not that different. It's just understanding how people work and how like people get to know each other and feel comfortable and all that kind of stuff that makes it feel bigger or smaller than it actually is, you know?
They probably
Yeah.
admired you like you're some rock star.
Well, I mean, I mean, my dad left this small town. My dad and my brother are the only guys. My dad and his brother, sorry, are the only guys to ever like make it to the NHL from this town. This town's obsessed with hockey, so like they view it in a way that I had never looked at it before, because you're in it, right? And then once you look at it that way, you're like, oh, well, that's not true. So if that's not true and what I think isn't true, then let's figure out the ground of just like enjoying and enjoying each other's presence and being friends and friendly and whatever. And ultimately that's what it comes down to. And going back to what you said, Jake, like that's why it's so important who you surround yourself with and the situations you put yourself into that you can control, because you can't control everything.
Right. That's so cool because okay. Oh wow. All right, now I got things bubbling now. So, when I was doing painting, I was starting off with this company that was like basically they give you franchisee um, experience and give you a painting company to start, and then they take a big chunk of the every single thing that you do. But anyway, so one thing that why I bring that up is because where I sourced this next thought that I'm going to share with you guys is that there was an article that the owner or the guy who was like running the show. I don't know if he considered himself CEO or what have you, but he was basically the guy that like he was the big cheese. And he released this article saying that you were a compilation of the 5 people you hang it the most with.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, like, okay, so like I wanted to maybe unpack that a little bit. Do you guys think that's completely true? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's
Um,
possible to like not have that be true, but in like a broad sense, yeah, I think I would agree with that. And that became like terribly apparent to me like when I moved to Ottawa. Like, so I started out in Kingston and wasn't hanging around the best people, and that started to make me feel a certain way. I went to Calgary. I didn't really have too many friends because I felt like I didn't really relate to the people out there as much. And then I went to Cornwall, and I felt like the people there were very cliquey and very like small town. Like, this is our clique, and you're the new guy, and we're not going to give you a chance. But then when I got to Ottawa, I met up with Nick and like a good friend group. That Nick was the most solid, welcoming, accepting guy, very positive, had his career on track, had goals and aspirations. And he introduced me to other people like him. And that's who I hung around with for like 3-4 years before I started my career and doing what I'm doing now. I feel like that was like a very important turning point in my life that got me understanding that, you know, you're going to kind of have those people rub off on you and kind of exhibit some of the traits that they share with you, and you're going to shed some of that negativity, and you're going to really push towards like the positive attributes you have.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that um, it's about, to me, it's about influences, right? Like the idea that the people around you are going to influence you the most, because that's who you're around, that's who you're talking to, that's who you're getting your ideas from, that's where you're getting your understanding of quote unquote what's normal. Like I think that for me, that's why I've fell in love kind of with podcasts, and the idea of podcasts was like that was the first time for me where I learned like normal is the most made up, disguised, fake thing ever created in the world. Like, there's no such thing as normal. Normal to you is not normal to anybody else on the planet. And anything that people or society or life tries to tell you is normal and you should follow, there's always going to be like hidden dark reasons of why that's not the truth. Like, there's no evidence that normal is good or happy or whatever. But going back to like,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like, I mean, in that idea in itself, I think that like whatever the idea of normal is to you, you just need to also understand that that's only normal to you. Like, if you look elsewhere, you travel elsewhere, you look at the world as a whole, it doesn't correlate all over the planet, the ideas that you have. But that doesn't mean that they're wrong. It just means that it's not the same everywhere. It's not.
Yeah, like, well, I
It's
totally.
relevant.
Excuse me. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I get what you mean. Like, because then it made me think. Like, because I was thinking about it, I was like, what the heck is normal then? Like, what does that mean? Do you
Well, it
know?
depends where you live, depends who you hang
Exactly.
around with, it depends what part of the world you grew up in.
It depends how much money your parents make. It depends how much money you make. It depends.
S-
Where the whole idea to me gets lost of like, hey, the white picket fence idea is beautiful in theory, but in actuality it isolates a ton of people. It makes a ton of people feel like, well, I didn't have that, so I can't have that. Like,
Yeah. Like, well, I mean, cause so like here's my kind of my question is that like when we say, oh, that person's not acting normal, they're like, we know what they mean. So like I totally get the what's normal for you seems to me to sound like something like what you're used to, or
The
for
norm of
sure.
society.
yeah, that was my other thing. It was like normal in society. Like, what's that about?
Well,
Yeah,
again, it's relative to like what part of the world you grew up in and what's normal for that specific society.
Yeah, and how developed is your society? Where is your society? Like
Eating out
normal.
of a trash can is normal in some parts of the world, but it wouldn't be normal to us in affluent North American society.
Right, we're not used to it. Yeah.
But yet it's viewed idiotic that we throw food away. You know what I mean? Like little simple things that we look at as just like common. Like, dude, I went and watered the ground today for an hour because I want my grass to grow in my backyard. Like, that's an absolutely mind-bending, arrogant, ignorant idea in other places of the world, to just pour water on the ground because I want the grass to grow.
This is really useful to think about, like what's normal for other cultures that could help us in our society, like identify things that need fixing, or maybe look at things in a different way.
For sure, man. That's why I believe. Like, I mean, it's tough because you're always gonna have counter arguments to any sort of idea or theory that's different. But I think that, like, without saying I don't believe in borders, because I do understand and have some belief in the concept of borders, I do kind of think that there's a lot of prejudice and us versus them mentality that gets established once you're like, well, I live here, so therefore I am. It's like, yeah, but you could have lived anywhere else. You could have been born anywhere else. You just happened to be born where you were born for whatever reason, whatever rhyme, crime, or act that made you turn out where you turned out. Like, I
Well, and the
think that,
people that are privileged enough to live in like an affluent society where things are afforded to them that aren't like basic necessities for people that maybe should be, they're not like exhibiting thankfulness or like appreciation for the things that they have. And that's what grinds my gears. And sometimes I do it too. Like, I get annoyed now when people I see like run the water tap when they're like washing dishes constantly, but they're not actually like doing anything with it or like brushing their teeth and keeping it on. I'm guilty of that sometimes, but like the little things that we take for granted, I guess, probably shouldn't.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's really interesting, because like growing up in Ontario and having to pay for the utility bill, and having the utility bill just be outrageous in recent years. Like I can recall so many times where it was just like especially when I was still living with dad, and the people that he would rent out to would just be jerks, and they would just do like they would leave all the lights on, and because like he had set it up as being like a uh like an all inclusive or like an inclusive thing, people would just completely take advantage of that. And suddenly, if you have the wrong people there, your utility bill could go from like 50 to $100 to like $300 to $400, and sometimes that could be bank breaking. You know what I mean? Like, depending on where
yeah.
you're at, but
Yeah, for sure. And I think that even the idea of like a utility bill, like think about that single concept, right? Like that means so many different things to different people. Like there's the understanding that, man, we're lucky to have a utility bill. We're
Yeah.
lucky that we can trade something that's on paper for the ability to turn lights on and turn a tap on. But I also didn't learn about a utility bill until I was 21 years old. Like I didn't know that people. I mean, I knew, but I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I had the understanding that, yeah, you pay for fucking lights, you pay for water, but who gives a shit, man? What is it, like 1 cent for fucking an hour? And it's like, yeah,
No.
dipshit. But when it's fucking everything is turned on and you're just draining power off the grid, it costs money. Like people pay for that. But I didn't understand that because of the life I grew up in. There's probably kids out there that have had to help their parents pay rent from the time they were 16 years old who are like, yeah, I know what a fucking utility. You know what I mean? Like that's where, to me, the whole concept of anything you look at can be deciphered like that. It's a perspective about how you got to experience it.
I think it's worth it to explore that too, like to figure out all these little things, to get all those different perspectives, because then it just helps you like be more functional. Like for me, like moving on my own to Toronto for a couple of years had set me up to live here well, right? Like
For sure.
I figured out what it was like. And for you, like you moving into this new place, Jax, is going, like you're just gonna do it better because you have that experience from where you've just been for 8 months or 9 or however long it's been, right?
Well, and one of the one of the important things that I've gotten out of life to this point is like going to a country like Peru, and that's why I would like highly encourage people to do the same sort of thing. But one of the things I want to do is go even a step further and go visit like sub-Saharan Africa, where like entire sections of the country don't have electricity, and they're like, that's total first world problems to them. Is like, oh, you're bitching about a utility bill. Well, you got a job and like money. We have warlords that are stealing village funds that
Oh
we should be
God,
using for like clean water and shit. Like
it's
we have to get our
crazy.
water from the river and like boil it.
Yeah,
Fuck.
man.
That's
And I think
perspective.
exactly, dude. That's perspective. And like I don't think you need to like sit there and be like, "Okay, how am I going to solve this or how am I going to fix it or how am I going to necessarily be a good person?" But just having that perspective and that understanding kind of instantly makes you look at things differently, and therefore doesn't like just because makes you like a better person, but it makes you a more understanding person, you know?
Yeah, well, I think in a sense though, like I know the way you phrase like a better person in the terms of like I'm better than you or you're better than me or that like that sort of better than conception, but like in terms of like betterness or just like creates a betterness for you, I think that's where like it does kind of make you like to have more knowledge to me is like that makes you a better person in like the sense that it makes you better than you used to be.
Yeah, a better version of yourself. And it comes back to the appreciation and like a sense of global moral responsibility. And like I have this fortunate situation where I have the lights above my head. And I know that we're stressing the grid out and that the more the population expands and the more people use it, the more issues that are going to happen. So what can I do as a little foot soldier on the ground? Well, I could probably just be more responsible with my use of said thing.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And it just takes little responsibilities and in every aspect of it that can then impact whatever sort of positive change is going to come from it. But looping it all back to the people around you and the five people who create you and make, I mean, I think there's definitely truth to it. I think that it also leads to like another theory of understanding that people have, um, which is like the power of attraction or the law of attraction or the secret or whatever way they've bundled it and you've received it or been delivered. But people understand that, manifestation of ideas and concepts. Like before we started this episode, Jake was mentioning that him and Joe had a Word document from 2017 all about a podcast. Like I'm looking at my computer right now and it's fucking podcast and comedy and scripts and all this shit that it's not done, it's not perfect, it's not right, but it's there, and it's more than I've manifested 5 years before today. So then I guess the question that I have and the topic to discuss is like what level of manifestation is important to understand, and also like what's your take on manifestation?
I think
Ooh.
I'm gonna kick it to Joe after a quick spiel here, but I think one of the most important things to realize is that like the life we live is not guaranteed and that you could die tomorrow. But even assuming that life is generous towards us and we live to even like 70, 80 years old, the clock is ticking and there's no better like satisfaction that I've seen in life than turning some idea that you've been thinking about for so long and think that you can do it, but you're always spinning your wheels and kicking it on the idea stage, turning the idea into an action and just getting started and then getting the steam and getting to the point where it's like a habit and a consistent action that turns into results. There's like no better feeling.
Yeah, and I think that is definitely right there on the nose, practical manifestation. Like in the sense that like that's basically manifestation, right? Like because when I think of the word manifestation, manifestation, okay, that sounds super woo, or it sounds like something out of like Final Fantasy or like I'm or like the Lord of the Rings, like or like I'm a wizard that's manifesting materials and fire and whatever. So but I think that, okay, so I believe in magic. I don't know if you guys believe in magic in the sense of like, not in like Harry Potter hocus pocus magic, but like just in what magic makes me feel like when I think of the word magic. Like I think of magic, it's fantasy, right? It brings brightness, it brings imagination. I think that is more where, probably where I'd want to rest on without getting too woo, right? Because I think that like there's something to be said about the things that are woo, or the things that are esoteric, in that, you know, the spirituality realm, I think, is for a lot of people just like way over their heads, and they don't even want to think about it. And like, it's like, I don't care about that sort of stuff. But the more and more like I've studied a few different topics, and like studied, you know, manifestation and like self-help and that sort of thing, the law of attraction, the more I kind of recognize that some of the things that are in these Harry Potter books are just, or other things that you consider magic, that are fantasy. I think that there's something really rooted in reality, and the idea of manifesting gives it that little extra juice. Like when you call it, saying the word "I'm manifesting this" feels magical. It feels like you're doing something, like you're doing something to the world, like you are kind of like a wizard or something, or like being a human gives you that power to change the world around you, which really, that's exactly what it is. And so by saying, oh, I'm going to manifest this, there's that sense of like dipping your toes into the goop of reality, or whatever you want to call it, the goop of like creation, or whatever this like sort of spiritual, energetic concept may be. Like all cultures for thousands of years, dating back literally 10 up to 10,000 years, like all the way back to like the first civilizations, they did like stuff like rituals, and when it and did these things that tried to manifest, for instance, rain, or manifest you know, crops. And by saying the word manifest, you're giving that, you're brightening it up. Because I think that one thing, real quick, and I'm gonna pass it to you, Jax. I think that one problem that our generation has had, and I think probably most generations have had, is that like once you get out of school and like you go into the real world, all of a sudden this colorful, magical Santa Claus is real type perspective goes out the window, and then things become dull, things become nasty and gray and you know, black and white and all this crap. And I think that by using words like manifestation that have like an imbued sort of magic presence in the word itself, then it restores some of that brightness of being a kid. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. And um, I just I got a couple things to go in on. First off, the main point I want to make is that Harry Potter is real and it is magic. So don't shit on Harry Potter. It's kind of fucked up that you would say that it's not real. But no, my point that I want to make regarding that just quickly is like, what is your definition of magic, right? Like, what is your idea? Um does it have to be something mythical or whatever, or it can be something that's created? Like even Harry Potter in itself, dude, is something that can be analyzed on a deeper scale. And I've had this conversation before, but you think about it, man, like one person sat down with an idea inside their mind that they probably thought nobody would like. They probably thought it was an idea that looked like a mountain to climb, and all you had was bare feet and nowhere to go and no path. And one person sat down and started writing something and writing something and writing and writing and writing and going and deeper and understanding and developing and making a story. And whether you want to say those things are real or not, like I can now turn around and turn on a magic TV image creator, take a controller that's essentially a wand, go onto an application that was invented. I have no fucking idea how. I have no idea how they make apps. Absolutely no idea. But I can go on there, click on there. I can transfer my fake money dollars that I don't see ever because it's all electronic, and it just tells me you have this much money. Well, what if I had more? Well, you don't have more. That's all you have. That's all the number says. Well, why does that number say that? Because you don't. That's just the way it is. Anyways, I can take those fake numbers and punch it into a fake computer screen, and I can watch a mythical world develop for 8 movies, which is like
Yeah.
40 hours, dude. You can engulf yourself into that world. That's real. Like, you might not think the magic of it is real. You might not be able to lift a wand and fucking hooty voody, whatever. But dude, that's real magic. That someone had an idea that turned into that level of something.
Hell yeah.
That's magical, man. That shit is crazy.
That's a great point.
I think it's startling, like, when I think of manifestation and magic, like, it's comes back to me, like, the capacity for human beings to be creative and to be innovative with just essentially the manifestation of something or nothing into something. And that's why I think when they talk about it, it's turning thoughts into ideas and then into actions. So when, like, J.K. Rowling came up with Harry Potter, it was like, oh, I think I want to make a book series. And then it's an idea of, okay, I want to make it about wizards in this magical world. And then you start to turn to action and start to write characters and the setting and the plot. And, you know, I showed Joe about, like, the basis for the start of a novel series that I want to write. And that really inspires me to get creative. But I think, you know, the thing that startles me the most is not that we can't come up with ideas and that we can't be creative. It's that we don't act on our dreams and our thoughts and our ideas enough. And that little person that's thinking, oh, you know, nobody's going to want to listen to my stuff or nobody's going to want to read what I have to say. Those are the people that are always going to wonder what if when they're 70, 80 on their deathbed, not the J.K. Rowlings that said, you know what, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to put pen to paper. If they don't like it, fine. But if they do, who knows where it can go. And I want to be one of those people that gives it a shot, which is why the podcast was so exciting for me, which is why blogging is so exciting. And I have, like, a glutton stash of ideas and stuff that I've written down over the years. And I just want to, like, start being the guy that acts on them. Whether they go anywhere, that's another thing altogether. And however many of them I can, you know, make a reality coinciding with all these other crazy things. It also says something about, like, focus and, like, you know, you could probably make things a reality faster if you take 1 or 2 things and focus really hard on them versus, like, 20 things and dabbling a bit in each one of them.
That seems so magical to me. Like, that we can even do that. Like, that we can have ideas and then we're like, oh, I'm going to water my lawn and try and get greener grass, greener pastures, you know? Like, there's something really magical there.
The action is the magic,
you know,
the manifestation.
Yeah.
Of that thought.
It's so true, man. And, like, it's so funny. I feel like so many times when we talk and, like, Jake or Joe will say something and I'm like, I thought I was the only one who thought that way. I thought I was the only one. And these guys, these fucking guys, man, but it's so funny, Jake, because, like, you mentioned a different or a type of novel or something that you want to write. And I've really been, like, looking in and like, obviously for someone who's pursuing being an author, listening to this is like, that ignorant asshole who doesn't know how hard it is. But I have thought about, you know, trying to do that or get into that creative space and whatever, and trying to demystify it a bit for myself and understand. Obviously we're fans of the Game of Thrones series. But one thing I've been doing lately that I recommend for you guys to do and also for other people, but I started having this thought, like, Game of Thrones, man, it's so deep. There's so many families and areas and places, and each place is a different type of person who has different traits, and each race has a reason for their race and a religion and a hierarchy and all these things that I'm like, what an overwhelming concept. Like what a concept that now you dump on somebody and it's just overwhelming. Like if you try and learn it all in one sitting, you're just going to end up with a headache and being like, wait, who is who? Who's having sex with who? Who's marrying who? What is going on here? And that's kind of where I was at. And I was like, dude, how did someone write this? And George R. R. Martin, who like wrote the Song of Wind or Fire and Ice, which is then got transverted into Game of Thrones. I started watching a lot of interviews and a lot of speaking engagements that he's done, dude. And it makes you realize so fast, no matter who they are, no matter what they've done, they're a person. They're people.
Yeah, he is. He's like a giggly kid when he's on some of his interviews. It's kind of cute.
Dude, and like they're asking him questions, right? The same ideas that I'm having of like, how do you create this in-depth world with like religions and beliefs and all this stuff? And he literally looks at the crowd and he's like, see, in one of the interviews, he's like, see, I don't write the book knowing everything that's going to happen. He goes, how I write it is I write and then I think, okay, where are we going? We're going up over this mountain range. Okay, who lives on the other side of this mountain range? What do they look like? What do they do? What's their industry? And he develops it from like that essentially ever growing journey of whoever he's writing. Where are they going? What are they doing? Who are they engaging with? Blah, 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 blah. And when you look at it like that, it looks like such an easy thing it's an easier concept to digest. It's an easier pie to eat. Where when you look at it as a finished, complete thing, it looks like it's like this great masterpiece. And I think that's the biggest thing for people to understand and for me to understand as I go through shit in life and whatever is no one like, dude, Rome wasn't built in a day. Like no one put all these pieces together in one day. It's an eventual effort and time and energy and thought, but it's slow and it's a very second by second thing. Don't look at it like, wow, they did it all. J.K. Rowling did all Harry Potter in what, probably for like 2 weeks she probably had it done. No, dude, she took years and years and years. And whatever your thing is, just be patient. Be patient.
On the risk of Joe transitioning, I just want to say something real quick about that is like the whole journey to get to the podcast and just like a lot of the things that I do in life, you do research and you really investigate the process and like step by step, what do you need to do? How do you do it? Who else has done it? How did they go about it? How can I adapt what I want to do, learning what I've learned from other people and kind of self-discovery and kind of taking that creative lens to it, like Jackson was saying that George Martin did. But I kind of attack the podcast the same way that they attack their novels. And I kind of attacked my novel that same sort of way, is just what elements need to be in a book. What of those elements need to translate across the whole series? What does the world look like? What do the settings look like? What are the stories? Who talks to who lives where? Yeah, like all that stuff, it needs to be carefully thought out. And I'm normally a perfectionist. I don't like to share stuff till it's done or I'm like confident that it's where it needs to be. I showed the first like 12 pages of my novel to Joe. I'm going to share that with you, but I'm also going to share with both of you like all the background documents that are kind of the world building documents and like character descriptions and settings and the map. I'm going to just spam it to both of you and you can see like I'm going down that rabbit hole of like the way you need to think to build this sort of thing. And I think like a couple times a week lately how badly I want to work on it, but it's like, where did I leave it off? And like, can I find that creative mind frame and jump back into it? The answer is yes, but it might not happen right away, and you might
smoke some weed.
Yeah, I don't want to have to do that, but I mean, you definitely got to work through it and find your way back into that groove. But it's exciting as much as it is daunting, and just like seeing it through a little bit more and a little bit more until it's where it needs to be is like part of the fun. Like they say that life is not about success and the outcome and achieving what you want to achieve. It's like enjoying the journey of getting there is the real part to enjoy.
Yeah, the bubbles in the cauldron are bubbling. Like you guys heard it first. We're getting some new books coming out here soon in the next couple of years. So you guys mark your schedules. But real quick, I'll pass it on to you guys again. I just want to say something, just as a kind of a nice. Not, I don't want to say wrap up because I love where the conversation is going, but just like a nice bow tie on the whole manifesting magic thing, because you had mentioned something there, Jax, and you said demystifying. And I think that is like it's like kind of like the compressor when I'm doing some of the editing here, and like making sure that like or working on my music. So sometimes when I play the guitar string will peak, or the frequency will peak, because it's too much to handle. And so the compressor caps the note so that it's digestible for the ear, and it's not like just stands out too much in the mix of a song. And I think that like the magic, to me, to use it as an analogy, is like the magic is getting in there and doing it, and making the notes right, and then demystifying it as well. Like once you got the magic going, demystify it a bit so that it doesn't feel like too much. Do you guys understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude, it's the work, man. Like that, the demystifying is the effort. Um it's the understanding of whatever it is you're doing takes time and effort. And like, dude, going back to Harry Potter, it's Wingardium Leviosa, not Leviosa. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's a point where like they're working on spells with wands, and it's like that shit doesn't just come, dude. You don't just pick it up and it happens. You got to pick it up and practice and fail and practice and fail and practice and learn and practice and grow and practice and see what happens. No matter what it is that you're doing. And it's cool. Like I love in one of our first episodes, we talk about life being a game, and like the concept that you're just in a role player game. And this is the same thing, dude. Like your world's magical. It's very, very magical in very unique ways. Just start to kind of look at it that way. Like appreciate it for that. Don't look at it like struggles of boring old life that you need to escape. Escape them, but also like understand that we're lucky, and we're in a great position to be able to escape and demystify and get into magical things that didn't exist. Like
it just feels better.
Yeah, man, we're recording our conversation, our voices on airways, and I'm in one spot, Joe's in one spot, and Jake is like 1,500 miles away from us in another spot, and we're recording. That's magic, dude. They couldn't do that shit 40 years ago, 30 years ago. You couldn't do what we're doing on this level, at this efficiency. Yeah, it's crazy.
Science and technology, bitches.
Love that shit, dude. I fucking love the fact that we're alive during the time that we're alive. People don't appreciate that enough. And I'm here to say, dude, it sucked every other time before now. If you don't think it sucked, go into fucking some history books or watch some Game of Thrones ass shit and realize that people did not have it figured out. They don't have it figured out today, but it's a lot more figured out than it was 1,000 years ago. Like, no, dude, no, thank you.
Yeah, straight up.
I got a nice little transitional piece, and I hope you guys will join me in venturing down this, I would say, hilarious little rabbit hole. So I got some, these were popular back in the day, and it's always nice to pull them out once in a while. Would you rather?
Oh, let's go.
Let's do it.
All right, boys. Would you rather the aliens that make first contact be robotic or organic?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a great question.
I'm going to say organic, dude.
Why?
Oh, because I feel like that like honestly not even like, dude, either way, I think that I'm of the belief and understand that like we are, if there is an intergalactic existence out there. I don't know why I believe this either. As I'm saying it, I'm like, why do you think that? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know why I feel this way, but I feel like we're the dummies. Like I feel like if there is an existence, which is so funny, dude, because I was literally having this conversation with Jess the other day, and she's like, we were talking about UFOs and like alien spottings and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, but why do you think that like they have the capability to come here? Like, how do we know that they're not just a bunch of fucking idiots? Like, how do we know that they're not just a bunch of
Us.
yeah, but like worse, like us, but worse. Like they look the same, they act the same, but they're just all like stupider. Like if our general IQ is one level, like they're just like 50 points lower. Like still doing all the same shit, just like dumber than us. Like I'm like, we don't know that. I don't know that that doesn't exist. I don't know that that's not real. But the reason why I think I would like them to be organic versus robotic or mechanical is because I think that it's going to blow your fucking mind either way, dude. I think your brain is going to explode in your skull if it goes down the way that it's been painted in human society forever. And I feel like if
Forever.
dude, you know what I mean? Like if tomorrow you turn on the news and it was like breaking news, New York City mothership lands in fucking Manhattan in Central Park, whatever, blah blah blah,
I'll probably
and
shit in
like
my closet.
dude, and like a vertical like Ford Ranger with like wheels just walks out of like a mechanical machine and is like, point us to your leader. That is so much more scary than like a hairy like alien looking thing coming out and being like, what's up? What are you guys doing here? I don't know. Maybe I'm way off on that take, but that's how I feel.
I think it'd still be pretty scary if just like a big blob looking hairy thing was just like and just started like had 20 eyes and was a like giant monster. I don't know. I think it'd be pretty scary both ways. I think it'd be terrifying both ways. Well, you don't want to hear what I have to say?
I wasn't sure if you were fine. Please continue.
Not really.
No, because I was just thinking that like if at least if it's organic though, then there's something that like we're kind of have in common, you know. If it's like a machine, then like where's the thing that built the machine? Is it like what it's more hard, it's more difficult to relate to a machine.
So again, if it's organic, we can maybe reason with the bastard.
Yeah.
Okay, dude, I have flesh too that's very impenetrable, and my human body sucks as well. Your human body
really wish
sucks
you could
also.
speak English.
Yeah,
You
our
understand
human
me.
bodies suck, dude.
I think for me, it would come down to the fact that, you know, it's like the primitiveness of it. If it's an organic material and it's like, say, a blob, I might have a better chance of survival with that thing versus like a robot, which must have come from a civilization that has advanced technology, which means it probably got some pretty bitch ass weapons. And I don't know if that's razor blades flying out of its fists or like fucking missiles coming out of its shoulders, but that kind of scares me a bit more. And I've seen Terminator 2 one too many times.
Yeah, great question.
So Jackson's going to come back, and then I'm going to give you another doozy.
Well, dude, like the thing about it being also organic is that I have a feeling like there's a sense that you could have like there's more empathy there. There's more emotion that like I don't know if we can program AIs to have emotions the same way that an organic. Well, I guess we are machines too. We're just instead of made out of metal, we're made out of carbon. But
They've like
I don't know.
tried give them like emotions, right? Like, have you ever seen Ex Machina?
Oh, it's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, it's a fucked up movie, but like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
like, I don't know
She
if
didn't
that's
give a
like
fuck.
considered a cyborg, but that's still like a robot, at least half of it. And I don't know, that still scares me. Whether they got manufactured emotion or not.
I know, dude. Like, it brings up the whole concept of AI and like, really, but think about that, dude. We're literally talking about something that we are slowly creating
It's
to
magic.
to show another
Dark
like,
magic.
there could be another planet out there with people having a very similar conversation to us, and we're the fucking assholes that's gonna send a robotic being when they're just like, dude, we just want to if some other people showed up, then I think I'd be okay with that. I'd be like, hey man, how you doing? And we're the ones who are like, no, let's send robots.
Yeah, fucking, it's got to have missiles. It's got to have sharks with laser beams attached to their heads.
At least two guns.
Giant Cheeto fucking of the United States sending the robots. He'd be like, yep. If they don't speak English in the first like 3 seconds, annihilate.
Dude, let's just send that guy. Let's just send him as our representative. Fuck yeah, dude.
Do you guys have money?
Hey.
Okay, question number 2, since that one was received so well. Would you rather lose the ability to read or the ability to speak?
Oh goodness.
Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna because neither one are technically a right answer, right? Like when you think about it.
No,
So
it's all preference.
okay, so I'm gonna say lose the ability to read, and I'm gonna be such a little. I'm gonna be like a little 10-year-old kid right now, and be like, because I can just punch it into my phone, and my phone will read it to me.
Oh,
Like,
that's thinking outside the box.
yeah, dude, I live in a day and age where shit can just read shit to me, and I can just process it and understand it at a lightning speed.
Yeah,
Reading is going extinct.
I totally agree with that. Only because, well, not only because, but for a lot of different reasons. Because like I feel like if you can't speak, then like you sacrifice a lot. You sacrifice like your potential for like love or like a relationship or friends or
What
like
about sign language?
laughter. And what's that? No,
I said,
yeah,
what about sign language?
yeah, but you can still speak and like. I guess I never even thought of that. I'm an asshole.
Okay, well, my determining factor, and I'll let Joe have some more thinking time about
God
his.
damn, I gotta go sit in the corner.
But if you lose the ability to read, and I think if you look in the finer details, it says the ability to read, not see. So as long as I can like stare off into space at like trees and see colors and stuff, I'm okay. I'd rather be able to speak.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I got a lot of shit to say,
yeah,
and you gotta listen to me.
We got a podcast, of course. We like to talk.
Yeah,
yeah,
dude.
and then I wouldn't be able to do a podcast with you guys, and like I want to do that.
Joe would just be sitting in the corner, being like, "I can't say anything, but I'm reading the shit out of this book right now." You guys can't see it, but fuck, dude, this book is good.
Yeah, I'll just give you a thumbs up, and that's all you need.
I might need to interpret this a little for you. So if you need clarification, let me know. Would you rather have a golden voice or a silver tongue?
Ooh.
Oh wow. I would say golden voice.
Why is
And
that?
I
You could
I
become
would
a famous singer?
yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. I would like that,
Or
but
a
I feel
voice
like because I feel like a silver tongue means that you have the ability to like manipulate and you say things really nicely, but I don't think it be, once people catch on that you have that, then you might not be it could put you into a box like you all of a sudden, well, now you might not be easily trusted. I feel like a golden voice means that like you're just like an honest person. That's why I said that.
So I guess it
Wow.
comes down to interpretation. So let's get Jackson's interpretation of this because I have my own.
Yeah, I'm gonna interpret the shit out of this, um, because I stand firmly on silver tongue. Is my choice, and based off of what Joe was mentioning about the fact that silver tongue is kind of meaning that you're like a little bit of manipulation, whatever. Yes and no, but I think that the golden voice to me is like, yeah, but that's all you have is the golden voice, which is great. You have the song, you're the songbird of our generation, and you can sing amazingly, which is very one dimensionally good because then you can become an amazing singer. But I think having a silver tongue, when you look at life in general, you can expand that into so many different areas. And I think the power and the ability that comes with that is just overwhelming. When you look at the reality of politics, you can get into public speaking. You can get into being really good at talking, which is essentially life. And I think that ultimately, I would rather have a silver tongue. Although I kind of feel like that's already my like good trait is that I'm decent at talking. So I feel like I'm kind of cutting this question in different angles and looking at it from different ways.
You're
But
biased.
yeah, I also would love to sing really well. That would be kind of dope as shit too.
So my interpretation. Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I was gonna say there's one really quick thing. Because to me, like when you said golden voice, I didn't actually think of like singing. I thought of it as like commanding voice. You know, so
Okay.
now I'm starting to see like now after listening to you, I'm starting to be like, could they be interpreted as like almost the same thing?
Yeah, because my interpretation. Sorry, Jake. I want to hear your take right after, but just so we clear it up, my interpretation, golden voice was like a very good singer. Silver tongue was like a very slick, like well respected like politicians, sort of like able to talk themselves into certain situations, kind of thing.
Right.
So I think again, like with some of these questions, it's good to think outside the box, and I think that's why it's good conversation pieces. So when I heard the words golden voice, a couple things that come to mind is what Joe mentioned. You can be a good leader, which means like, say we're not in this time and we're like back in friggin' Mel Gibson Braveheart days, and you got a golden voice and you can command the troops, and like even in like military setting, you can be a born leader, which is very good in certain aspects. Golden voice could also mean an awesome singer, or it can mean like an awesome voice actor or something. And a silver tongue, my interpretation of that would be, yeah, you could be a politician, you could be a good public speaker, a good marketer, but another underlooked aspect of it is you could be a good joke teller, or like say witty things, or be very very sly and witty with your
Cleverness.
clever. So I don't know, that's a tough one. I think I would rather have the silver tongue, because it would be good to be funny and good to be clever and always on point with everything you say.
Can you have like a platinum mouth, which is like a golden
That was not
silver tongue and a golden voice?
Can I take a diamond tonsils, please?
Yeah.
I'll just figure it out from there.
Here's our next one. Would you rather be covered in fur or covered in scales?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Oh, dude.
Now, this isn't assuming you're in the Arctic or you're in like tropical country, or you're
just in general, just to like go wherever you want with it.
You're who you are now.
Oh, these are good questions. Okay, so I'm gonna take this from a personal standpoint, but then as soon as I had the thought of a personal standpoint, I was like, okay. So personally, I would go with fur because
you can't shave.
Oh, I know. Fuck. But because I hate being cold, dude. Being cold to me is like the worst shit on the planet. But as soon as I had that initial thought that came in my brain, the very first second thought was like, yeah, but think of how sick scales would be. You'd be so fast in the water.
If you're like a Komodo dragon, like no one would fuck with you.
Dude, I have a story about a Komodo dragon. Oh, man. Okay. If I can just let's get Jake's answer on the fur, or no, let's go answers first, and then remind me I have a Komodo dragon story.
Okay, I'm gonna agree with you and say I would like fur. I like being a mammal. I don't know, like it's just better. Like I like being warm and warm blooded, because like scales is cold blooded and stuff. But there is something to be said about being like the top thing, like the predator, or like the crocodile, or I guess lions eat crocodiles though, so maybe I'd just like to be a lion. I don't know.
Scaly kind of does have that like presence to it though.
Here's the way I look at it, and all things considered, we could envision this question in a variety of different scenarios, but I guess the thing was put to us like who you are right now and where you are right now, which one would you rather have? And I think of the concept of being covered in fur, and I'm like, we live in Canada and it's fucking cold up here, and 6 months out of the year, that would be a goddamn blessing. You could go outside and be insulated and, comfortable. But the other like 3 months out of the summer and like what we're experiencing now, that would be mad uncomfortable. So you go through periods of being very well situated and others of being very uncomfortable. If you're just covered in scales, I mean, we're still warm blooded, so we wouldn't have like temperature regulatory issues, but you could maybe survive like a sword being thrust at you, or you could get in a fight. Somebody would get fucked right up because you're covered in scales. Or
it's like bake in the sun, and if you get too hot, you just go in the water.
Yeah, but are you thinking like fish scales, or like?
I was thinking lizard scales, but I guess it could be whatever your interpretation is.
No, I bite on like lizard scales, but fish scales, fuck that, dude. Those things don't do shit. Right?
Yeah, because they're pretty brittle, right? Like you couldn't survive here.
Yeah, and that's like the bottom of the food chain, right? It's kind of interesting that like scales are kind of like some of the lower end and top end of the food chain. But I mean, we're human.
Fur.
Also fur, yeah. So like, what a great question.
You know what sucks the most, dude? Skin. What we have is the worst, dude. It's
Don't
the
you
We
worst.
kind of think
fire.
after I look at it though, like I'm looking at my hand right now and I'm looking at it really closely, like really, really closely. And it kind of looks like little scales. But then there's fur and hairs and stuff, like skin cells kind of
I
have that same shape. You know what I mean? Like obviously they're not scales. I'm a human, of
Yeah,
course.
no, I get
Not a
it.
reptilian, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it, but I just think, okay, crazy story. I played hockey with a guy at when I went to school in Halifax, and he told me, and I trust this guy. He told me that he had an auntie and an uncle who owned exotic pets. And do you guys know what it's called when you have like a snake aquarium? There's like a word for it.
No.
I can't think of
Oh,
one.
anyways, there's a specific word for it, but these people had that in their home. And he's like, he tells me the story. He's like, dude, they turned their whole basement. They lived in somewhere in Quebec, and he's like, they turned their whole basement into a den for a Komodo dragon,
Holy
bro.
shit.
Yes, and they bought a Komodo dragon off the internet, and they got a Komodo dragon in their home that lived in their basement
What do they
with
feed it? Like whole pigs?
just human beings, dude. They just hunt human beings
Shit, Jesus
and feed
Christ.
it to them. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what they fed it, dude. But the moral of this story gets in, or the point of the story gets absolutely bonkers. So he says they have this Komodo dragon for a while, which is a ridiculous pet to have in your home. And he's like, the thing about them is they love heat. And he's like, they had a big, you know, those like lamps you put on when you have like lizards or geckos in your house, those little red lamps that like make things warm.
Yeah.
He's like, they had a big one of those, like a thing, essentially like a spotlight of like one of those in their basement because the thing just loved warm like heat. And they were gone for like a weekend or something. And dude, the Komodo dragon knocked over the red light that was keeping it warm, and it burnt the whole house down. And so the firefighters like show up to put their house out, and they call these people and they're like, yo, like, is there anything we need to be aware of inside the house? And they're like, oh, yeah, there's snakes and all this weird shit they have in their like snake aquarium. And then they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, there's a Komodo dragon in the basement. And so the firefighters are like, yeah, no chance we're going in there. Like, we're just going to let the house burn. No one's inside of it. We're not going in because there's a goddamn Komodo dragon in the basement. And the story goes that I was told when the firefighters went into the house once it was like burned down, they went into the basement, dude, and the Komodo dragon was chilling underneath their stairwell in the basement after the whole house had burned down.
Loved the heat. Wow.
Dude,
Boss.
that's in your home, bro. Like that's where you live, and there's a Komodo dragon.
Yo, that was actually kind of
No, thank
sad
you.
though, that moment when like they're like, nah, there's a bunch of animals in there, but they're a bunch of reptiles. So like, nah.
So fuck them, dude. I would not go inside of a home in Canada where someone was like, "Yeah, there's a dragon in there."
But
I don't know. I don't know where it is, but he's there.
I'm being left wing right now, but like, isn't that like another being though? You know what I mean? So it made me sad. Like I was like feeling bad for those lizards and shit.
I think
Yeah,
that
but
makes
it's a dragon, dude.
Yeah,
It's a dragon. It has dragon in its name, and
It's
you're
got,
gonna
like-
go in there and save it?
it's
Not
got
a
poisonous teeth. Yeah,
And it was, but apparently it was alive when they went in and got it. Just so we all know. I don't know if that part of the story was obvious or not, but it was still alive
Yeah, it's
after the house
crazy.
burned down.
And then what did they do after though? Did he tell you like what happened after?
No, I don't know. They probably just released it out in the Quebec woods.
Oh shit!
no,
They let
buddy
it go
went,
hunt
buddy
deer.
went to the charred ashes of his house and put a saddle on it and rode it off into the sunset.
Oh, dude! But have you ever seen the video of a Komodo dragon eating a monkey?
No.
Did I?
Oh my god! Yes, dude. Yes, you need to see these videos. Everyone needs to see these videos. If you aren't right now, do me a personal favor and let me know that you've done it, and I will send you a thank you post because
What the fuck?
Nature is Metal on Instagram go follow them, and then just be horrified by the shit that happens in nature, dude. There's a video of a Komodo dragon swallowing a monkey whole.
That's
That's
intense.
it. That's it, dude. That's it. That's all I gotta say. A whole monkey swallow.
I think one of the things I want to do, because this is actually like way more amazing conversation than I thought it would be. I'm going to give you guys one more, and then we'll jump into the segments and wrap it up. I think I want to make this like a recurring thing, because there's quite a few good ones that like there's pages of them, and we can't possibly just do them all in one run. So I might save a bit of time at each episode just to kind of ask a couple of these questions.
Ooh,
Dude, yes. And this is a great moving forward. If you are listening to this, send us would you rathers.
Yes.
Send us your would you rathers, and I promise you we'll give you the most attention and detail that anyone will ever answer them with.
All right, here's a good one to bookend it. Would you rather be in jail for 5 years or lose 5 years off your life?
I'd rather be in jail for 5 years.
But what if you're being subjected to like horrible instances of rape and like abuse?
Yeah, you answered that so fast. That was like you don't even care about it.
No, I did.
You don't even care, dude. You don't even care about getting raped in jail.
No, because fuck, man. I'm going right to the biggest guy in there and knocking him right in the chin, dude. Bottom corner, right the bottom chin.
Have you ever watched it?
Joe, that's amazing.
Well, shit, like, because I was just thinking that, like, if I was in gym, like in the gym, that's where I'm going with it. If I was in jail, I just get jacked and then be friend, because like I'm a friendly guy, right? Like,
dude, that's such a classic never going to jail guy comment to make. Dude, if I was in jail, bro, I would be fucking yoked, dude, and I would just beat the shit out of everybody. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, before you even got one foot into the gym, they would have you held down with 6 of them around you.
Yeah, dude, you'd be getting shanked so fast, especially because you just said that on tape, dude. You're done.
Oh, shit, I know. I'm on record, so I'm a good boy, and I don't think I'll ever go to jail. However, guys, if I do, send me a couple books of, like, Wing Chun so that I can, like, learn that shit and Ip Man myself to the end of my 5 years.
I love how the martial art that you choose to learn when you go to jail is Wing Chun. It's incredible.
We were talking about it the other day, so
that's so funny. All right, I'm going to attack this from both angles. I will tell you which one I would rather do first, and then I want to just dabble, just touch each one, just give my opinion on each. I'm going to take 5 years off my life because I'm going to live to be 120. So 115 to 120, those aren't going to be good years anyway. So I'm going to take those 5 years and trash them. And the reason I would, though, kind of go to jail, if the thing about jail, which is just a whole nother podcast episode to discuss, is like the whole correction concept is just so fucked up in society and life that it's insane. But if you're saying jail where it's an experience and it doesn't like haunt the rest of my life like it does for actual inmates who get arrested for shit that either they shouldn't be arrested for or that something happened, the system failed them, but like that shit fucks up your life like forever. Like you can't get a job, you can't live in certain places. But if it's just like jail to experience jail, 5 years is still a long time, dude. 5 years, bro. Yeah, I don't know. I think the experience of it is something that like I would like to gain in the sense of experience sake, but the sense of actually doing it and then how much it fucks up your life. No, dude, take the last 5 years. The last 5 years are trash anyways.
So let me give you some stuff to chew on here. So when you look at the jail aspect of it, it comes down to, okay, what kind of jail am I in? Am I in a super max in the United States in like Chicago? Or am I in like minimum security prison in like upstate Connecticut or something? What am I in jail for? Am I in jail for like child molestation and I'm totally going to get shanked and raped? Or am I in there for like petty theft? And then the other thing to look at is it doesn't say lose 5 years off the end of your life. It says lose 5 years off your life. So what if that is like, I don't know. I guess it would have to be the end of it. You just come back to life after 5 years, so it could be that.
Yeah, you just get snapped. Thanos worked, and you just get snapped out for 5 years.
But what if you aren't guaranteed to live till 120, and instead you're just gonna die at 50? Does it make a difference? 45 to 50, you're only gonna live till 50.
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference.
So if you had to go to jail in a supermax in Texas, where the population is largely non-Caucasian, or die at 50 and have 5 years taken off the end of your life, which one would you rather?
Dude, 100% die at 50. Shoot me in the face, bro. Shoot me in the face, dude. Are you kidding me? I'm a handsome ass white man. If I'm walking in there, dude, I'm getting bullied so hard, dude.
Yeah, I walk in there like, what's up?
Wing Chun.
What's up, bros? What's up? I'm
Dude.
Joe. How you doing?
Like, I'm 26 years old and I'm whitening my teeth. Do you think I'm not getting fucked up in jail, bro? Like, having whiter teeth is like in my top 3 issues of my life right now. I'm not going to jail, dude. At least not by choice.
But what if you could get jacked and learn Wing Chun before you got there?
Yeah, you'd be all right.
Dude, if I could get like Dwayne the Rock Johnson jacked and learn Wing Chun, still probably no, dude. Still probably take the last 5 years out of my life. I'm not going to jail, dude. Fuck that, bro.
Well, I think I might just start like a football league and just get everyone playing football, having a good time. Maybe challenge the guards to a game.
Dude, you should do that, and I would love to help the boys get some uniforms and maybe some new running shoes if I can help out.
They're all good guys. They're all good guys.
So good. Okay. Any parting words before we segment?
No, that was awesome. We need more of that.
Stay in school.
Yeah, don't go to jail and try to live forever, dude, because we can all live forever if you just eat healthy. Just live forever.
Keep your teeth white. Learn Wing Chun.
There you go. That's that.
It's time for lightning round. It's time for lightning round.
Did I ever tell you guys how much I love that music?
Dude, I know. It's amazing.
It's so happy.
I hope it gets stuck in people's heads for like days on end.
I think we got to renew the subscription because I can't let go of these now. They're too much a part of us.
Absolutely.
Done.
Okay, so Jackson's on the lightning round trivia question asking tonight. So put my thinking cap on, and I don't know what to expect, but it's yours whenever you're ready.
Okay, I just have I think it's called a preface to go into trivia now that we are getting to the point of hopefully having people listening and consuming the information and the knowledge that we're putting out there. Moving forward from this episode on, I would like for you guys to rate the trivia levels for us. Let us know what you think of our trivia, because I think that we're doing a pretty good job, but I always feel like we can do better. So I put my trivia questions together weeks in advance, and I just happened to finish them up. I finished them up just before the episode started. Yeah. So we got some, it's TV with pop culture, okay? So we have 9 questions. Some of the questions are super difficult. So if no one gets it after each guy has one guess, if you don't know it right away, just say, I don't know. And then I'll give 3 options for some questions. Other ones, I expect you guys to kind of have an idea. All right?
Gotcha.
All right. Okay. Question number 1. In Quentin Tarantino's famous Pulp Fiction, what is glowing inside the box?
Oh, shit. A finger?
Ooh, okay. Joe coming out of the gate with a finger. Jake?
I'm going to say a head.
Ooh. 2 good guesses, but the truth of this answer is that nobody actually knows what's inside the box.
What's in the box?
It's unknown. The box is glowing, and there's been many different ideas and fan theories. My personal favorite, if you watch the movie, one of the main characters in one of the scenes, he has a band-aid on the back of his neck, and the theory is that his soul is inside the box, and that is why they're looking to get it so badly throughout the movie. But anyways, we're going to call that one a no answer.
It's like a Pandora's box or something.
Essentially, if you haven't watched Pulp Fiction or haven't watched it recently, watch it again. Great movie. Okay, second question. In the movie The Matrix, what color pill does Neo take?
Oh,
The
shit.
red
Oh.
pill.
Yeah.
Jake. Got it. Okay. And then a sub question for no points. Jake answers first. What color pill would you take?
I'd probably take the red pill. I want to learn that crazy kung fu dodge bullet shit, but it would be terrifying. But I think if I knew the concept of the red and blue, that there means there's something on the other side of the curtain, and that curiosity would always make me wonder, what if I took the red pill? So I'd just take it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, downloading how to fly a helicopter in a matter of 5 seconds is such a cool concept to me that I would, right alone, I'd like to do that.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. You guys are correct. Neither of you get points, but you're both right. Question number 3. How many people have won the famous TV show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Now, I'm assuming that you guys don't know the answer to this because that would be absolutely bananas if you guys knew how many people had already won it. So I'm going to give you a number range. And I'm going to let Joe answer first because Jake's ahead 1-0. So the options are 5 people have won Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, 12 people have won Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, or 18 people have won Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
18 people.
Okay, Jake?
12.
Jake is correct. 12 people have made it to the final question, and got it correct.
Wow, that's so small. Like all these numbers, like I thought it would have been in like hundreds, but I guess not.
No, dude, winning it though, like getting to the final and winning it, those questions are so hard. But fan interaction here. There's one guy who, I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, but I'm not going to release his name, but who comment and let us know who it is because it's an amazing video to watch and you guys must go find it. There's a video of a guy who makes it all the way to the very end of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And, you know, like the 3 lifelines, one of them's phone a friend. The very last question, he's like, yeah, I'd like to phone a friend to answer this question. And he's like, who do you want to call? And he calls his dad. And as soon as his dad picks up the phone, he just goes, hey, Dad, like whatever his name is. He's like, I just wanted to call you and let you know that I'm about to win $1 million on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And he goes, the answer is like C or whatever. He answers the question and he wins $1 million with his dad on the phone, which is easily the most baller move in game show history.
What a flex.
Dude, such a baller move. Okay, question number 4. Jake's up 2-0. The unicorn is the national animal of what country?
Japan.
All right, now I was going to give you options, but Jake has to guess now since Joe came out of the gate with Japan, which is not
God. Easter Island.
Okay, both you guys not right, but I got 3 options for you. Iceland, Scotland, or Westeros.
Scotland?
Joe is correct.
Yes.
Scotland. Westeros.
Confident on that answer.
Westeros is the land of Game of Thrones, in case anyone was wondering. I'm rewatching it again.
Okay.
All right. How many feet? Sorry, question number 5. How many feet is a football field long?
I don't know in feet.
Okay, then I'll give you guys 3 options, and I'll let Jake guess first. 120 feet, 160 feet, 200 feet.
160.
Joe?
200 feet.
Jake is correct with 160 feet. There's a random fact for you guys, because I learned living in America, Americans love comparing distances of things in football fields. So now you know, 160 feet is the length of a football field. All right, question number 6. Which famous musician tried to buy Marvel Comics just for the sole purpose of playing Spider-Man?
Michael Jackson.
Boom.
That's what I was going to say.
Was it actually Michael? Wow, that was pure guess.
All right, we're going to give that to Joe. Although, Jake, I do appreciate that you had that knowledge because I kind of thought that was crazy.
I feel like I heard it somewhere, and like that
Yeah.
would have been my first inclination, anyways. But
That was
Joe
yeah,
definitely
I was
coming out of his mouth. So
yeah.
Also, you want to talk about baller moves, dude? Baller move to just try and buy the whole company for the purpose of your own enjoyment.
Could you imagine if he actually was like Spider-Man? You think it'd be good or?
Oh, dude, I don't know, man. Yeah. What if he would have been the? Yeah. Anyways, I mean, it didn't happen, so I guess we don't have to discuss it, right? Question number 7. What is Sir Elton John's middle name? And there's a hint that goes with this one, and Jake gets first crack at it. But the hint is that his middle name has something to do with Greek mythology.
Perseus.
That's a good guess. Joe?
Zeus.
All right. You're both wrong, but those are very good guesses. I'm going to let you guys go one more time before I just let it slide. But Jake?
Odysseus.
Ooh. Joe?
Something is.
Hercules.
Oh, shit. Joe out of the top rope tying the game, dude. Elton Hercules Johns.
Wow.
What?
Isn't that crazy?
Sniper.
All right. Question number 8. Who is the highest grossing single artist globally of all time?
Michael Jackson.
Joe?
Is it a musician? I guess I can't ask you that. Bono.
Good guess, but not
Can I guess
correct.
again?
You will. Do you want a hint or do you want to guess?
I think we should both get one more guess without a hint.
Okay. One more guess without a hint.
Justin Bieber.
Good guess, but no. Joe?
Frank Sinatra.
No. I was going to say good guess, but I'm like, I don't know if that's a good guess. So I don't know.
That's not a good guess at
Yeah,
all.
I don't think it is a good guess, but that's okay. It's good effort. I'll give you guys one hint. It's a female artist, which I was a little bit surprised by. But it's solo artist globally, and it's a female artist.
Shakira.
Ooh, that is a good guess, but not correct. Joe?
Mariah Carey.
No. All right.
Jennifer Lopez.
Ooh, no. Joe?
Shit.
Janet Jackson.
No. It is Madonna.
Oh, that seems so obvious now.
It's okay, though. You guys you have no appreciation for Madonna, and that's fine. All right. 9th question. We're tied 6-6. So we need a correct answer here. And if we don't, we're going to have to figure something out on the spot. But hopefully...
Rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, we got options here. Okay. Are you guys ready? Question number 9.
Let's do it.
What movie did not start as an SNL skit? So again, what movie did not start as an SNL skit? Saturday Night Live. Option number 1, The Blues Brothers. Option number 2, MacGruber. And option number 3, Tommy Boy. Now, before you guys answer, to make this fair, I'm going to think of a number between 1 and 10. Okay? I'm going to go. Jake's going to give me his guess first, and then Joe between 1 and 10 numbers. I am ready now. Okay, Jake.
7.
Okay, Joe.
3.
Oh, shit! Number was 3. So Joe gets first guess. What movie was not an original SNL skit?
What was the first one again? The
Blues Brothers, MacGruber, or Tommy Boy?
Tommy Boy.
I think he's right.
He is correct.
Boom.
He is correct. But I feel that's correct. But I feel like Jake probably would have guessed that as well.
I would have, yeah.
So I feel like the trivia is a little bit flawed. But you know what? For today's episode, Joe's our winner. There we go.
I'm ready. I got a rant.
All right. Well done, guys.
Thank you. Great questions. Good
We
question.
need some victory music.
We do need some victory music, some like Zelda.
See, in my overzealous confidence, I was already looking up rant topics, but I couldn't find one that I liked, so I'm glad that Joe won this round.
That's perfect. I feel like if there's something that really grinds your gears, I feel like we should just have an open floor at the end to just say whatever we want to say. But I do like earning your epic rant because it makes you then have a little bit of pressure with it.
Mhm.
I got to earn it and build
Good
up the
call.
rage so that I can let it out when I finally do get the chance. But here, we're approaching the 2-hour mark, so I'm going to kick it right into the next one.
What's weird in the world today? What's weird in the world today?
All right, what is weird in the world today, Jackson?
All right, I hate to be that guy to start it off with negative or weird in anything that isn't positive. But you know what? I gotta say, it's kind of pop culture, pop news right now. For those of you who don't know, Kanye West has announced his running in the 2020 presidential campaign elections.
Wow.
And last night he had his first rally, and you won't believe it, guys. Guess what?
Elon Musk.
Kanye West said some crazy shit at his rally. Isn't
No
that
way.
crazy? Isn't that crazy? Because you almost think like, maybe he gets it. Maybe he knows that what he says, people hear, it's important. He's a big deal. No, he just came out and said some way more crazy shit than he had said before.
What did he say? Like, what did he say?
Something about fish sticks.
Yeah. So one thing that I heard that was trending around that, again, I don't want to get too into different political things, but the one topic I heard was he was talking about, in maybe a not great light Harriet Tubman.
Tubman,
Sorry.
I think I'm definitely saying that wrong. Let me Google it quickly so I don't sound that.
Are you talking about the activist?
Yes, Harriet Tubman. I'm so sorry. The woman who is, born into slavery, escaped, and helped other people through the Underground Railroad avoid slavery or escape slavery.
God, what did he say?
Dude, he essentially just made a comment being like, she didn't actually help people who were slaves. She just moved them to work for different white people, which is blown up on Twitter in different areas being like, dude, you can't just say crazy shit. And then the other thing, it's Kanye, exactly. So this is why we shouldn't let him just do whatever he wants to do, just because, which is kind of the end of my point. But just the other thing he said that was a little bit a lot of bit outrageous. He talked about the birth of his daughter and just some very controversial topics that he decided to then stand on with his own political views, which is like topics of abortion and stuff like that, where I think it just went way off the rails. But my whole point that I'm trying to get to, which actually was a point that Jess made to me, and I totally agree with, is she's like, shouldn't there be like some sort of test? Like, shouldn't you get tested in everything? Like, and to get your driver's license, you have to do a test. Like, shouldn't there be some sort of qualification test overall, like level you got to clear before you can just decide you're running for president?
Well, it defeats democracy, though, right? Like, if you got the money for it, anybody can go for it, right?
That's the problem, though, is that if they have the money, They should take money out of politics. Go Bernie.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm okay if you're the richest guy in the world, dude. That's so sick. You're the best, dude. You're so dope. You fucking beat capitalism. You're the best, man. But you should still have to take a test before you can just be president.
That's bizarro world. If he wins after Donald Trump, like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's insane. So that is my long-winded what's weird in the world today.
Joe, what you got?
Yeah, I got something from BBC Science Focus magazine, and it is that Planet 9 could be a grapefruit-sized black hole, says astrophysicists.
Juicy.
Yeah, it's cool. So, like, they've suggested that the hypothetical Planet 9 could be a tiny black hole, and they proposed a way to find out. Planet 9 has never been seen directly, but because of the way the outer solar system acts, they suspect that there could be a Planet 9 and also like a Planet 10. But the idea of it being a little tiny grapefruit-sized black hole could explain why we haven't seen it, because we can't see black holes. So I guess we're just kind of waiting to see if it passes by a moon or like a belt of the asteroid belt or whatever, and see if it like things just disappear. I don't know. I thought that was kind of more on the cool side, but also kind of weird, like that there's like because it makes me think like a little black hole on the outside of the solar system, because it makes me think of Interstellar and how like Interstellar's like wormholes are kind of like black holes, or like there's something that overlaps there or whatever. But like, what if that's like a gateway? Like, we could use, if that is a black hole and we're like, bros, we figured out wormholes and we can just use that as like a portal to like distant parts of the universe.
But if it's a black hole, it's not a planet, right? Why is it called Planet 9?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It also changed. It would be Object 9 or something.
What's Object 1 through 8?
Yeah, you got to change that.
Well, and I thought Planet 9 was Pluto, but now it's not a planet. So wouldn't like a black hole,
Pluto, dude.
Well, it's supposed to be. It's been considered Nibiru, right? There's that whole conspiracy, but the whole new
Planet X,
Nibiru,
isn't it?
yeah, which would be Planet 10 if Pluto was still a thing. So it would be the next planet. So it's technically now been changed from Planet X to Planet 1X or IX.
Shouldn't it be Black Hole 1?
Yeah, but yeah, cool though.
That's not as catchy though, right? Doesn't have the marketing legs.
Yeah, you can't market it like Planet 9.
Mine's a little more grounded. Have you guys ever heard of Banksy?
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Okay. So apparently, he did a painting, and it was at the Sotheby's auction, which is like the world's most famous art auction. And during an auction at the London Outpost, a piece of his work was sold. The painting, called "Girl with Balloon," fetched an astonishing $1.4 million. So good for Banksy. Moments after it was declared under new ownership, though, jaws dropped as the painting started moving down the frame. Banksy had installed a hidden shredder that ensured his finishing touches would be put on the piece.
Dude, isn't that have you seen the video, dude? It's so good.
I have never even heard of that. I thought that was fascinating.
It is, dude. And I love that shit, dude. I love that it adds to the allure of no one knows who this guy is or this person, guy or girl.
Well, I guess there was a video of him like the first time anyone's seen him. He was doing like spray paint on a subway car or something.
Oh, no way. Really?
Yeah, he was like bandanaed up across his like nose and stuff, but you could see like a real dude.
Oh, shit.
But I love
dude.
this. I love this snapshot they have of the auction when it's going through the shredder, and people's faces are just like shocked and appalled, and like it's all these old white people. It's great.
Oh, dude, it's crazy. They're like, what is happening right now? And no one knows what to do.
No, not the art.
Not the thing that we just paid all this money for. No.
Like one person that's probably not even physically there paid the money, and the rest of these people are just like shocked on their behalf. It's great.
So funny.
Okay, so Joe, get ready.
Time for your favorite segment.
Check it.
Rants.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and the jury. I'm into the idea of having an epic rant, not necessarily something that grinds your gears. And I think Jake had mentioned this before, perhaps in a previous podcast. I'm not quite sure, or if it was just a conversation outside. But I kind of like the idea of a podcast being something that you just want to talk about for 3 minutes. And so, like, I want to bring it back to the idea of the magic versus the demystifying thing. And the point that I'm trying to make is, I guess, a Buddhist point, in the sense of like being in the middle, finding the middle way, finding the thing that is not too hot, not too cold, not too big, not too small. And the reason why I want to kind of talk about that for a couple of minutes is because I find it, the more and more that I look at it, more I look at the way things are, because I love watching PBS Space Time. I love watching YouTube channels that have amazing stuff about the cosmos, but then I also am fascinated by things that are super tiny, like, physics of particles and that sort of stuff. And the whole point that I'm trying to, I guess, clarify is that, like, it seems to me that we are supremely lucky in being in the middle, and us being as like humans and just like conscious beings, we are in the middle in a lot of ways. And I just want to share with you guys some of the middleness that we have being humans. So like, for one is that, like, we can exist when things aren't too hot and not too cold, right? There, we have to be in a perfect little habitable zone away from our sun. But also, I wanted to describe, going really abstract, how we're in the middle of the infinitely huge and then the seemingly infinitesimally small. We're right smack dab in the middle of that. And also, for our size, among like the sun is kind of like not the smallest size sun, but also not the biggest type of star that can be. Our planet is right in the middle of like this giant amount of size a planet could be compared to like the small, and all these things added up lead to I guess, speaking to Buddhism, and how we really are in the middle. Like, we are right in that nice focal point. Like, another one is light. Like, we have light that is the visible spectrum, and it's only a tiny little fraction of all the waves of light that there can be, right? Like, there can be radio waves and really long giant waves that we can't see, and then really hyper high frequency waves of light that we also can't see. And we're right in the middle. So everything that we see, every color and beautiful thing that you see when you look outside and you see green and blue and all these things, is right in the middle of the light spectrum. And I thought that was fascinating. I thought that was really cool. And the reason why I came up with that is because, like, the whole idea of us talking about magic and then demystifying things, it seems like you want to manifest things in the middle. You don't want to go too magical with it, because then you might know what the fuck you're doing. But also, you don't want to demystify it too much that you don't even get started. So I guess that's my rant for today. I just thought we're in the middle, guys, and I like it.
Well, that was epic.
Thanks.
Well done, sir.
Well, that was another fun. This is probably the longest one we've had, and probably one of the more enjoyable ones too. I thought every aspect of it was amazing. So maybe we should go more off the cuff and free flow, because it seemed to bring out our creativity and just spontaneity.
Yeah,
I like that, dude. I like it. Good conversation, boys. That's what it's all about.
Okay, well, on that note, we have our website up live. The episodes 1 through 6 are up there now. You can catch episode 7 out soon. Hit us up at seewhat6.net. Comment on the post. Tell us what you'd like to see. Suggest some would you rathers. Tell us about our trivia. And you can check us out on all of our social media channels at the buttons at the top. So for Jake, Jackson, and Joe, here we are signing off for another edition of See What 6. See you next time, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.